Jai Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaivam narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat nastaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttame shloke bhakti bhavati naishtaki Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. It still looks like it's night outside, so thank you for joining so early on a Saturday. So today we're reading from Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse 20, 21, and 22. So we have 3 different verses that we are reading today. And we are continuing where Narad Muni is talking to Vyasadeva. And Narad Muni in these 3 verses is primarily explaining the supremacy of Krishna. So we'll start reading with 1.5.20 and then we'll progress to the other 2 verses. Idam hi vishvam bhagavan ivitaro yato jagasthana nirota sambhava tadhi swayam veda bhavam stathapite pradeshamatram bhavatam pradarshitam. Anyone wants to repeat?
Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavani Vetaro.
Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavani Vetaro.
Yato Jagasthana Nirodha Sambhava.
Yato Jagasthana Nirodha Sambhava.
Tadhi Swayam Veda Bhavam Stathapite.
Tadhi Swayam Veda Bhavam Stathapite.
Pradesha Matram Bhavata Pradarshitam.
Pradesha Matram Bhavata Pradarshitam. Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavani Vetaro. Yato Jagasthana Nirodha Sambhava. Tadhi Swayam Veda Bhavam Stathapite. Pradesha Matram Bhavata Pradarshitam. Anyone else? Okay. So we'll read the word-to-word translation. Idam, this. He, all. Vishwam, cosmos. Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. Eva, almost the same. Itara, different from. Yata, from whom. Jagat, the worlds. Sthana, exist. Nirodha, annihilation. Sambhava, creation. Tathi, all about. Swayam, personally. Veda, no. Bhavan, your good self. Tathapi, still. Te, unto you. Pradesha matram, a synopsis only. Bhavata, unto you. Pradarshitam, explained. The English translation is, the Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead, is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated, and in him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis. So the purport is a bit long, but it's very relevant. So maybe we can just take one paragraph or half a paragraph each and can go around and read it. Does that work with everyone? Instead of me just reading it. So maybe if you want to start.
For a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda, Lord Sri Krishna, is both personal and impersonal. The impersonal cosmic situation is also Mukunda because it is the emanation of the energy of Mukunda. For example, a tree is a complete unit, whereas the leaves and the branches of the tree are emanated parts and parcels of the tree. The leaves and branches of the tree are also the tree, but the tree itself is neither the leaves nor the branches. The Vedic version that the whole cosmic creation is nothing but Brahman means that since everything is emanating from the Supreme Brahman, nothing is apart from him. Similarly, the part and parcel, hands and legs, are called the body, but the body as a whole unit is neither the hands nor the legs. The Lord is the transcendental form of eternity, cognition, and beauty, and thus the creation of the energy of the Lord appears to be partially eternal, full of knowledge, and beautiful also. The captivated, conditioned souls under the influence of the external energy Maya are therefore entrapped in the network of the material nature. They accept this as all in all, for they have no information of the Lord who is the primeval cause, nor have they information that the parts and parcels of the body, being detached from the whole body, are no longer the same hand or leg as when attached to the body. Similarly, a godless civilization detached from the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just like a detached hand or leg. Such parts and parcels may appear like hands and legs, but they have no efficiency. The devotee of the Lord, Srila Vyasadeva, knows this very well. He is further advised by Srila Narada to expand the idea so that the entrapped conditioned souls may take lessons from him to understand the Supreme Lord as the primeval cause. According to the Vedic version, the Lord is naturally fully powerful, and thus his supreme energies are always perfect and identical with him. Both the spiritual and the material skies and their paraphernalia are emanations of the eternal and external energy of the Lord. The external energy is comparatively inferior, whereas the internal potency is superior. The superior energy is living force and therefore she is completely identical. But the external energy, being inert, is partially identical. But both the energies are neither equal to nor greater than the Lord, who is the generator of all energies. Such energies are always under his control, exactly as electrical energy, however powerful it may be, is always under the control of the engineer.
Human being and all other living beings are product of his internal energies. So the living being is also identical with the Lord. He is never equal or superior to the personality of Godhead. God and living beings are individual persons. With the help of material energies of the living beings are also created something. But none of these creations are equal or superior to the creation of the Lord. The human being may create or a small playful toothpick and may throw it into outer space. But that doesn't mean that he can create a planet like the Earth or Moon and float it is in the air as the Lord does. Men with the poor fund of knowledge claim to be equal to the Lord. They are never equal to the Lord. This is never to be. The human being, after attaining complete perfection, may achieve a large percentage of the qualities of the Lord, say up to 70-80%, but it is never possible to surpass the Lord or become equal with Him. It is a disease condition only the foolish being claim to be one with the Lord and thus become misled by the illusory energy. The misguided living beings, therefore, must accept the supremacy of the Lord and agree to render loving service to Him. For this, Vasudeva is advised by Srila Narada.
They have been created.
Okay. They have been created. Without this, there cannot be any peace or tranquility in the world. Srila Vasudeva is advised by Sri Narada to expand this idea to Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the same idea is explained. Surrender fully onto the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the only business of the perfect human being.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So yes, Prabhupada's purports are so nice. They are so, most of the times you don't even need any explanation. It explains everything systematically within the purport. But we'll try to expand a little bit more on it. So Prabhupada is saying that the Vedic version, that the whole cosmic creation is nothing but Brahman, means that since everything is emanating from the Supreme Brahman, nothing is apart from Him. So everything is the energy of God, and everything is a manifestation of Krishna. So similarly, we are also parts and parcels of Krishna. So being a part of parcel of Krishna, we also have some individual quality. It might be very limited, but when we are separated from Krishna, we still have some quality. Just like if you imagine a battery. In this mic right now, we have some batteries, and that is why this mic is working. The battery without the mic also has value. But when the battery is put inside the mic, you are able to see its full potential. And it's able to amplify its value 10 times or 100 times more. So it does not mean that we individually do not have any value, but it is very limited. So that's why we are parts and parcel of Krishna. So when we are attached to Krishna, our value also increases exponentially. Prabhupada gives the example of a hand or a leg. So of course, our hand or legs by itself, they have a lot of value. Because it is said that engineers these days in the robotic field, they're trying to create these hands and fingers that can mimic what a human hand can do. But it is extremely difficult because even though they have the real thing and they're just trying to copy it, it is still very difficult for them to do it because the mechanism of how our fingers work, how all the joints work is so complex. So it is difficult for them to even copy it. So individually it does have value, but if we remove the arm from your body, then no one keeps it. Then actually you have to throw it away because it will start decaying and it will become negatively valued. So that is why without the body, the hand or leg doesn't have much value. Because if you think the leg thinks that, I'm carrying the entire body. I do all the hard work. You cannot walk without the leg, so the leg is doing all the hard work, but when it is time to eat, the stomach gets all the food. So now the leg starts to think that from now on, only I should be fed and not the stomach. Does anyone think that will work? Has anyone tried that? Obviously it will not work. So the leg cannot think individually that I am more important than the rest of the body, and that's why you should only feed me. Or the stomach cannot think that I will support everything else like the leg does. So everyone has their own individual potency, but when we're putting it all together, that's when the full potential can be realized. So we also, as parts and parcel of Krishna, it is said that we are also Sat, Chit, Ananda. So Sat means eternal, we're all knowledgeable, and Ananda, we are always blissful. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, verse 7, it is said that Mame Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Mana Sashtriyandriyani Prakriti Sthani Karsati. So it is saying that the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to the conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which is also including mind. So when we say that we are Satchitananda, in quality, we are the same as Krishna. Because Krishna is also Satchitananda, and so are we. It is said that in Bhagavad Gita, like, so Sat means we are the eternal soul. The soul cannot be harmed. You cannot do anything to the soul. It is eternal. So if you are qualitatively similar, how are we different than Krishna? Quantitatively. Imagine if you are drawing a line on a blank piece of paper. What is a line consisted of? Sorry? Points or dots. So depending on the length of the line, a bunch of dots put together creates the line. So we can think of as Krishna as the line and we being the dots. Each of the dots have the same quality. But you cannot say one dot is equal to the line. So there is a difference, but in quality there is no difference. And one big difference between Krishna and the lion in this example is that if you remove a dot from the lion, what will happen to the lion? It will become shorter. But when we remove ourselves from Krishna, does Krishna become shorter? No. Because Krishna is complete. He is Purna. Right? So imagine if you have infinite, Krishna is infinite. So if you remove anything from infinite, it's still infinite. So in that way, there's a difference that even if you remove anything from Krishna, Krishna is still full. But for example, we talk about material examples so that it can make more sense to us and we can understand it better. So we said that we are Satchitananda. So this helps us understand that our inherent nature is to be like Krishna. Because all of us are seeking, when we say Ananda, we are always, because someone might say, you are saying that we are eternal, all knowledgeable, and always blissful. Who here will say that they are always blissful? No one is happy being here right now? So, inherently we are supposed to be always blissful. Right? But the issue is that we are seeking the right thing. We are seeking happiness, which is in our nature. Everyone wants to be happy. We're seeking the right thing in the wrong place or in the wrong things, because we're seeking happiness in material things. Gauragopal Prabhu also says it's like someone that does not have something themselves, they cannot provide that to you. A teacher can only impart as much knowledge as they have themselves. So when we're looking for permanent happiness or long-term everlasting happiness in material things or in conditioned souls, if they do not have that eternal happiness themselves, how can they give it to us? And in that way, we're always disappointed. So when we're always disappointed, we sometimes tend to become stressed. We become stressed out. And it is said that, there was a study that was done, and they said that, there are 3 top different things that people do when they're stressed out. Can anyone guess what would be, what do you do when you're stressed out?
Overeating.
Overeating. If it's prasadam, then it's okay. Yes. Someone says sleeping. Yes. When we're stressed out, we sleep. What is something else that devotees will not particularly do? Intoxication. And then the third one? Devotees also sometimes do this. Anger issues. Yeah. And then what do you do when you have anger issues? Overreact. And in order to relieve ourselves from that stress, so we said we do sleep, we can do intoxication, and sometimes you also, the third answer was entertainment. So you watch TV or we watch something, we watch a movie. Now what is the base foundation in all three of them? What is something common in all three of them?
Divert your mind.
Divert your mind.
Yes. And so it was there, someone said trying to escape. But of course, all the answers are correct. The words are mind, we are distracting ourselves, but we're trying to escape. Now, what are we trying to escape to? When we sleep, we have to eventually wake up. Some people wake up much later than others, but eventually they have to still wake up. Same thing with intoxication, no matter how much intoxication you take. If you take too much intoxication, then you permanently sleep. So you have to always be careful how much intoxication you take, and same thing with entertainment. There's only so much movies you can watch. So in all three of them, they're not permanent and they eventually will end. And the essence is that we're trying to escape, but most people never really think about what we're trying to escape to. So inherently, we are looking for a permanent reality, something that we can hold on to. So that is in our inherent nature. It does not matter if you're coming to the temple, if you're a devotee, if you're non-devotee, no matter who it is. We're all trying to escape to something better. Yes. And then in chapter 9, verse 5, there's a lot of verses from chapter 9 that we'll quote today because chapter 9 is the most confidential knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. So in verse 5, Krishna is saying, Nacha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram bhuta brinna cha bhutastho mamatma bhuta bhavana. So he's saying, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. Because someone might say that if Krishna is everywhere, if everything we see is the manifestation of Krishna, then Krishna will also be affected by all the modes of nature. But it is said that Krishna is part of everything, but is also not part of anything. So Prabhupada gives a famous example of the sun and the sunshine. So everything is part of me, but I am different. So Prabhupada says, both the sun and the sunshine are part of the same reality. But there's a great difference between having sunlight in your house and having the sun in your house. Who would want the sun in their house? Hopefully no one. So technically sunshine and the sun are the same. But then again there is a difference. So Krishna, when he says the sun, then the sunshine is the energy emanating from Krishna. So in that sense it is different. The quality are the same, but the quantities are vastly different. And also in verse 9, Krishna is saying, Najamam tani karmani nibaddhananti dhananjaya udasina vad ashinam astakam teshu karmashu. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. So this verse is verifying that even though Krishna is part of the world, is part of us, is part of the manifestation, but again, he is different. He is not bound by the three modes of material nature. If you notice the first line of the purport, Prabhupada is saying that for a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda, Lord Krishna, is both personal and impersonal. So sometimes when you're talking about, the Brahman or Krishna is all the manifestation, we can get confused between personal and the impersonal aspect. And we studied this in chapter 12 recently in Bhagavad Gita, in devotional service. He said there are how many kinds of transcendentalists? 2 kinds of transcendentalists. So we got the personal and the impersonal. So the impersonal, we had the Advaita philosophy, which was propagated by Shankaracharya. So in Advaita philosophy, they talked about the monastic view that the individual soul and the God are one and the same. Then after that came Madhavacharya, and he talked about Advaita philosophy. And he said that the dualistic argument, he said that the individual soul and God are eternally separate. So who here agrees that individual soul and the God are eternally separate? We've been talking about this. Anyone? Or why we are not?
I think we are not, because we already discussed that we are just a small part of the God's soul.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so in one sense that is correct. But then after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he combined the 2 philosophies. Yes, and he said that we are Achinta, Bheda, Abheda, Tattva. So Achinta means inconceivable. Bheda means different. And then Abheda means non-different. Because in the first line we are saying that for a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda is both personal and impersonal. So that can be a bit confusing, that we are different and then we are also non-different. But this was taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then also further expanded on by Jiva Goswami. So the first word is what we have to pay focus on is the achintya, is unconceivable. That yes, we are same in the sense that the sun is the same as to the sunshine, but at the same time it is also different. So that is the explanation that Prabhupada Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to us. So the primary difference between Krishna and us, we said that is the quality and the quantity. But also in layman terms, we can say that Krishna is God, but we have the ability to become godly. So that we can say is the difference. We can never become God. But by following the scriptural Vedic injunctions, by improving our lives, we can become godly. And how do we become godly? There are various methods explained. Even in Bhagavad Gita, we have the yoga ladder. We have different types of yogas. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. So in karma yoga, it is said that the highest we can reach is the purification of our desires. So karma yoga, we go to work, we have our activities that we do in the material life, and we offer the fruits of those activities to Krishna. So that way we are purifying our desires. In Jnana Yoga, if someone is able to get to the peak of Jnana Yoga, they might get to Samadhi, and they might get a glimpse of the ecstasy of having a relationship with Krishna. And then of course, Bhakti Yoga is the highest of where we are trying to get to. Bhakti Yoga is said to be avyayam. Avyayam means inexhaustible. Because again, we don't want happiness that is temporary. We're saying Satchit Ananda, eternally blissful. So we want happiness that is inexhaustible, that is never ending. So in chapter 9, verse 2 again it says, Raja Vidya Raja Guyam. Pavitram idam uttamam. So they're explaining this knowledge. Krishna is explaining what is this knowledge, how good it is. He's saying that this knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So, when it says avyayam, su sukham kartum avyayam. So that is the definition of Bhakti Yoga, where the happiness never ends. So that is why we say Bhakti Yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. So that is what we talked about in verse 20, and we can go to the second verse, 21. Tvamatmanatmanam avaya amogadrik parashya pumsa paramatmana kalam ajam prajatam jagata shivayatan mahanubhava bhyodayo diginyatam. So we'll just read the English translation. So your goodness, Narada Muni is again saying that to Vyasadeva, your goodness has perfect vision. You yourself can know the super soul, personality of Godhead, because you are present as a plenary portion of the Lord. Although you are birthless, you have appeared on this earth for the well-being of all people. Please, therefore, describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, more vividly. So again, in this verse, Sri Narada is instructing to Vyasadeva on compiling the Bhagavatam and how he's supposed to describe in a very detailed way the various transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. We're also glorifying Vyasadeva in this verse. If you think about it, like every time we start reading Bhagavatam, we say two verses. What are the two verses that we say? We said them today as well. So when you look at the meaning of this verse, Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamadirya. So before we even start reading, we are always glorifying Vyasadeva before we start reading Bhagavatam. So in this verse specifically, Narada Muni is talking about who Vyasadeva is. Vyasadeva is not just a conditioned soul like us. Yes, he is one of the Shaktavish avatars. So Shaktavish avatar is, Krishna has 6 types of different avatars. One of them is Shaktavish. Shaktavish is the empowered incarnations. What are the other examples of Shaktavish avatars? Anyone? Parshuram is there, yes. Even Narada Muni himself, he is one of the Shaktavish avatars. He was empowered with devotional service. The 4 Kumaras are one of the Shaktavish avatars. So this way, there are different Shaktavish avatars and they are empowered by different opulences of Krishna. Because Krishna has 6 main opulences. One of them is knowledge. So Vyasadeva is empowered with knowledge. So it is also said that Vyasadeva is birthless in this verse and has only appeared for the welfare of the material world. This is one of the main signs, primary signs of a pure devotee. That they are paradukha dukhi. They are happy to see other people's happiness and they are sad to see other people's distress. So that is the definition of a pure devotee. In Kali Yuga, we are exactly the opposite. We're happy to see other people's distress. Now imagine if you're in a school setting, everyone went to school here, and you're receiving your exam marks. When you receive the exam marks, what kind of marks will make you happy? High or low? High marks. Everyone wants to get high marks. Now, what do you think will make you even more happier? Higher than your friend. That will make you even more happier if you get higher marks than everyone that you know of. In your friend circle, if you get the highest marks, even with the lowest in the class, that will still make you happier. So this is our condition. We always compare because we just want to see in relation to others where we stand. Yes. So Vyasadeva is Shakta Vishavdar, and he only came, the entire purpose, the avatars, they come with a purpose they appear in this material world for the purpose in their lives. And that's one of the purpose of Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva, he compiled the Vedas, and the meaning of the Vedas is basically the aggregate of all knowledge. So before Vyasadeva compiled them, in the olden days, all the knowledge was passed verbally. And the disciples and the students were so intellectually gifted that they will not forget. But us, again, we are so intellectually non-gifted that we forget everything. Anyone here remembers what they had for lunch on Thursday? I don't. This Thursday, two days ago. We cannot even remember what we did yesterday, or what we ate, or what we wore. So this is how short of memory span we have. So again, for the benefit of people, entities in Kali Yuga, Vyasadeva thought of writing, compiling all the Vedas together. And he compiled the 4 Vedas. So he had the Sama. What are the 4 Vedas? Yajur? Athar. He had the 108 Upanishads, the 18 Puranas, Itihasas, and all these different scriptures. Right? And then again, what else is Vyasadeva? What else is Narada illustrating in this verse? He is also illustrating, if you read at the purport, again, why reading the purport is so important, he's illustrating that Vyasadeva, even being the plenary portion, he was one of the incarnations of Krishna, he still had a spiritual master. Even when you look at the lives of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all had a guru and a teacher in their lives. Just in the previous verse, we read that Krishna is the Samam Bonam, he is everything. But still, when he appeared in this world, he had a spiritual master. Because we all need a teacher in any sphere of our life. So for example, we eat, so after the class we'll go have prasadam. That is all the activity that we have to do. We just have to put prasadam within our body. After that, the body takes care of everything. We do not tell the body that, okay, now you have to start producing blood, or you have to take the nutrients from the food and, keep the wastes separately. The body does everything by itself. So we personally might not know how that works, but if you talk to our science teacher, they might be able to give you a bit more knowledge of how that would work. So even in our material lives, in order to do anything, we need a teacher. You might want to be a sports person. And you can tell the difference if someone has been coached by someone and someone has just been self-taught. There is a big difference between the two. There can be a cricketer who is just very good, or you might, interested in whatever sport. You might watch others and start to learn, and you might be naturally talented, but until you have someone to mold that talent into something useful, you will not reach your full potential. So that is why we do need teachers in our life. Yes? So Krishna, of course, we said that, he is everything. He has complete knowledge. One of his 6 opulences is to be fully knowledgeable. He said that Krishna, there are billions and billions of entities in the world. He knows everyone's names. He knows everyone's past lives, future lives, all the things that we are planning to do, all the things that we are thinking. He has a full database. He has a full database, but still when he came, he got Sandipuni Muni as his teacher. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, he had Ishwara Puri and then later Keshav Bharati. And then one might ask that why does Krishna needs a guru? So firstly, Krishna wanted to set the example of how to lead an ideal life for all of us. Because today we have the tendency of individuality, which is good in one sense, but sometimes we think, I don't need to learn. Why do I need to go to school? Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook after dropping out. Maybe if I drop out, I'll create Facebook as well. But we should also look at the statistics of how many people dropped out and how many people of those created Facebook. Far more people dropped out, but only one person created Facebook. So generally, we do need to go to school and follow a tradition in order to elevate ourselves intellectually. So Krishna wanted to set that standard. But Krishna also wanted to enjoy the different relations that he can have with his devotees. In Canto 2, Chapter 7, Verse 4, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that factually the Lord is the father of all living entities. But out of transcendental affection and love between the Lord and his devotees, the Lord takes more pleasure in becoming the son of the devotee than the father. Because the guru is also considered as a father, is one of the fathers in our lives. So the father actually serves the son. There might be a few people that have young kids. When the kid cries at night, or when the kid is sick, the father or the mother has to wake up and take care of them. But when you are sick, does the kid take care of you? Even now, even when they're older, they still don't do it, let alone being young. So, we're saying that the father actually is serving the son, even though externally we should think that the son should serve the father. So in that way, Krishna sometimes likes to take the position of the son and be served by the devotee in that sense. So the Lord is also accepting such service from the devotee, and thus the devotee becomes more than the Lord. And we don't have too much time, but we have the 5 different bhavas. Everyone knows the 5 different bhavas in which we can create relationship with Krishna. Anyone wants to say what they are? Shanta bhav, Dasya bhav. What else? Sakhya bhav, Vatsalya, and Madhurya bhav. So Krishna has given us so many different ways on how we can develop the relationship with him. We just have to create and take that first step. And then the last verse, 5.22. Idam hi pumsa sapasa shutosya va Svitasya sukatasya cha buddhi tatoyo Avijjato ratha kavabhir niropito Yad uttama shloka gunanu varnanam. So in the third verse it is said that the learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, mainly austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. So what is the ultimate purpose of advancement of knowledge by various methods? That is what is being described in this verse. Prabhupada is mentioning that the human intellect is developed for advancement of learning in art, science, philosophy, physics, so on and so forth, and by culture of such knowledge, the human society can attain perfection of life. So this perfection of life culminates in the realization of the Supreme Being, Vishnu. In chapter 10, verse 8, it's a very famous verse, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, mata sarvam pravartate, iti matva bhajantema, buddha bhava samanvita. So Buddha is saying, like in this verse, Buddha, the learned. So the people who are learned are involved in my devotional service. So Krishna is saying, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me, and the wise who know this engage in my devotional service. So every pious activity is ultimately meant to glorify Krishna. And that is why Narada is telling Vyasa in detail that you must describe in detail the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Because ultimately, everything is non-different from Krishna, because it is a manifestation of his own energy. And again, now we're going back to the first verse that we studied, so that we can see how all three of them are connected with each other. Now, how can we apply all these different avenues of knowledge in Krishna's service? So we have the easy one, we have literature. Literature is easy, we can just write and talk about the glories of pastimes of Krishna. So Valmiki, like that, was a great poet. And then again, our own author Vyasadeva did the same thing, where he is describing the glories of Krishna. Now science, Prabhupada has also mentioned how science can be used in the glorification of Krishna. And sometimes people think that, spiritualists are on one end, and then science is on the other end, that they don't match, they don't align with each other. Who all here believes that? In some sense it is. In some sense, there are things that do not align, but in some sense there are things that do align. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, I was listening to a lecture from him, and he gives a very, he's called a spiritual scientist. So if anyone wants to look him up, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he has very nice talks about how Krishna consciousness and science relate with each other. So he's saying that today we have the comforts that if you just go back 100 years or maybe 50 years back, even the royalty and the kings did not have that much comfort. We have electric cars today. I don't think they had electric cars back in 100 years ago. And it is very easily, so we have so much luxury and comfort. So science, can make things better. So science took a vehicle and made it into something that we have today, which is a self-driving car. So science is very good at progressing. It is able to make things better, but then spirituality is able to make people better. Because if you have to look at it as two different dimensions, you have the external dimension and the internal dimension. So science on the outside, it can create a very nice car for you. But what you do with the car is under your control. Right? The technology has led to so much comfort, but it has also led to so much destruction. Because it is said that the more outer power you receive, there is a need to have that much more inner power. This is a quote from actually a movie. With great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility. So this is the thing that you can able to find even in your material world. You can watch a movie, but you can find things that can relate back to Krishna. Right? So we understand that technology by itself is great, but it is not enough. And the scriptures, they provide us with that inner knowledge that tells us how we can use the technology in the best potential manner. Because we just said that, and what is that knowledge? Like what is the inner knowledge? What does Bhagavad Gita or spirituality says about this, about science? It is said that science can provide us with speed. Because our cars that used to be, whatever speed back in the days has grown so much now. We can get to Banff in less than 1 hour. But is driving fast enough to get to Banff or get to your destination? What else is required? Direction. So you need to also know the direction of where Banff is and how to get to that place. So science can provide us with speed, but we need spirituality to provide us a direction of where to go. Right? Because science can provide us with a great car, but even with self-driving cars, we still need to tell them the destination of where we need to go to. We cannot just sit in the car and expect that we will get to where we want to go. So that is why we need spirituality in our lives. Because science is able to provide us the means for living. But it is difficult for science to provide us a meaning for living. Everyone has an iPhone here. Most people do. You've tried asking Siri what is the meaning of life? Or Google, whatever. Have they been able to tell you yet? So it's difficult because meaning of life is not just, because I remember back in the days used to say number 42 as a meaning of life. It'll just say something random because they still don't know themselves. So science can provide the means, it can provide the resources. So right now we have this mic, we have this laptop, we have the infrastructure around us. It is able to provide us this resource, but what we are doing with this resource, that is what the spirituality can provide us. Because spirituality can provide us the purpose of living. Lots of people are studying here in school. No one is studying. No one is studying here in school. I thought we used to get a lot of students. So okay, maybe not. But okay, let's ask a different question. Who likes to study? Very dedicated, Everyone is in a mood of goodness here. I can talk about myself personally. I never enjoyed studying, But we had to. Before exams, we'll pull those all-nighters in order to just study. But why do students pull those all-nighters? Because there is a meaning to pulling those all-nighters so that they can get good marks in their exams. So when we're talking about the meaning of life, we're saying that majority do not intentionally like to study. Inherently, they don't like to study. But we endure through it because there is a reason behind it. And this analogy also works on the opposite spectrum. So if someone told us to just relax all day and play video games or whatever you like to do, who all would like to do that here? Would someone like to have a relaxing day? Yeah, why not? Everyone is busy, everyone is stressed out. It will be nice if someone just says, you know what, now you only have to just sit at home, watch TV, and do whatever you want to do. How long do you think you can be able to do that? 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, depending on how depressed you are, maybe 1 month. But eventually we will become bored. Eventually we will become bored because there is no meaning to it. It is just meaningless. We enjoy our vacations. Most people had vacation during Christmas for 1 week. Now I'll give you a scenario. Imagine someone just got fired before Christmas holidays. Yes? And then there's you who, by Krishna's mercy, did not get fired. So now you both have the same 1 week off during Christmas. Who do you think is enjoying more? Someone who still has a job in January, in the New Year's. Technically, we should say they only have 5 days off, but the one who got fired has so much time off. So they should enjoy more. But they don't. We only enjoy our vacation because we know we have something to go back to, because we have work to go back to. If someone says that you are permanently on vacation now, you will not enjoy it. So it's the same concept that with meaning, even hard work becomes acceptable. Even pain becomes acceptable. But without meaning, even pleasure is unacceptable. So that is what Chaitanya Prabhu is saying, that material knowledge by itself, or scientific knowledge by itself in isolation, is not enough. We do need the spiritual perspective on top of it as well. Because the point is not to devalue science. It cannot be. Science has done so much progress, but science is very important in our lives, but science in itself cannot provide us the satisfaction that we are looking for in our lives. So that is why we need another kind of knowledge, which is the spiritual knowledge. And Prabhupada, if you look on the last line of this purport, it's a very important statement. He says that the scientific knowledge engaged in the service of the Lord and all similar activities are factually Hari Kirtan, or glorification of the Lord. And this is very important because Prabhupada here is confirming that we do not have to give up things that we are doing outside. We do not have to give up our jobs and then join the temple full time. Of course, if you can, that's great. But most people cannot do that. There are different stages of their life and they cannot just give up everything and join the temple. So the idea is that whatever you are doing, the fruits of it is being offered to Krishna. The fruits of it needs to be offered to Krishna. And it doesn't matter, we can involve Krishna, we can add Krishna in our everyday lives. We have talked about this before. We still eat, but when we add Krishna, we become prasadam. We still listen to music, and then we add Krishna and it becomes kirtan. We still read, but we add Krishna and it becomes scriptures. We still watch, and then we add Krishna and it becomes a lecture. So we don't have to actually change anything, we just have to make it a little bit different. They said that, when preachers come to your house, they will say, just give Krishna a little 1% of your life. Just chant 1 round. And then they're like, we're already chanting 1 round, maybe you should take Bhagavad Gita as well. You're already chanting Bhagavad Gita, maybe you should take Bhagavatam set as well. Yeah, Bhagavatam set, you should get Chaitanya Charitamrita set as well. Maybe 4 rounds now, 16 rounds. It is said that you just start with adding Krishna, because they said you take 1 step towards Krishna and Krishna takes 10 steps towards you. So you just have to take the initiative and then Krishna will do the rest. So I know we're over time, so I'll just wrap up. So in conclusion, we studied about 3 verses today. We said that Krishna is the origin of everything and everything emanates from Him. Then we also talked about the impersonal and the personal nature. We have the different Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the personal relationship that we want to develop with Krishna. That should be our goal. Of course, you can go to the longer route of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, but there's a lot more chances of fall down. The example is given that if you want to get to the top floor, you can take the staircase or you can take the elevator. Both will get you to the right destination, but one is a lot more painful, a lot longer, and has a lot more chances of a fall down. Next, we read about Vyasadeva, how he is birthless, and he appeared in this world just for the welfare of the mankind. We also talked about the importance of having a teacher in our life, whether it's material life or spiritual life, there needs to be a teacher. And in the last verse, we talked about how the culmination, the end goal of everything that we do, of all the knowledge, whether that is coming from science or material life or spiritual life, the end goal is the culmination of the glorification of Krishna. So with that, I'll stop. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and let me know if there's any questions. Yes, Prabhu.
So my question is like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is like inconceivable, right? So that means God could be personal, impersonal. That means he tried to make a bridge between the Shankara philosophy as well as the Madhva philosophy. That means try to make the society more harmonious and not too critical to each other. So, if we keep that in mind, now in different communities, we have seen lots of people are very critical about other groups of spiritualities, like they call them as Mayavadi, right? And people get very upset about it. And if you go to Asian country like I'm from Bangladesh and India and other places, there are lots of teaching between the different groups. But the main idea of even when I see different lectures of different spiritual personality, even from Islam, I've seen these kind of they're very much critical about those people, Mayavadi, philosophy, this and that. I feel very bad about it. You know, if I go to my own community and I've seen there's some Sakta, some Soida, some Vaishnava, some, right? And this is what is our communities. And our main idea of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to make a what I would say, is a negotiation so that no one get upset, everyone go to their own ways. One way could be, the way you said, one way could be easier than other, but all eventually go into the same same destination. So if we keep that in mind, then we will be very friendly to each other, and our society will be more harmonious, and we can live without any quarrel and fight. That's why I've been thinking all those things for a long time. That's for example, a few other things what I feel like. That's what you said. Vaishnava has got three big qualities, right? One is Jiva Namiruchi, Vaishnava Shavan. Vaishnava Shavan means the doing something good for the humanity. That's what it is. So everyone can do things good for the human being from their own professional perspective, right? From some doctors, engineers, businessmen, even chef, restaurant, everyone can do their points. So in that case, but some of us try to say that no, we need to be only Krishna service. Krishna service means come to the temple, bow down to it, and cook prasadam, and cook this. But where these things will come from? Someone need to supply it, right? So to supply those things, now someone need to work hard behind. So we have to keep that in mind. So lots of things even when I go back in my home country, I've seen lots of young people, they are doing nothing. They are just going to the temple and then cooking prasad and eating and this and some people, those who are non-devotee, they are supplying all those finances for those things. So in that case, what I feel like, because even Vishnu philosophy is like we are eating meat. What we sell is eating, sleeping, making and then
Defending.
And I think everyone is very important. We need to eat, we need to making is important, otherwise generation will not maintain, will not sustain. We are making new temple, who will look after it? If we don't make, if we don't get American celibacy, who will do that? So this is also important. So eating important and sleeping important for our own physical need, and at the same time we also depend ourselves, otherwise we will not survive. So we need on the top of that we need spirituality. So someone said that we need only spirituality and not other things, and I feel very bad about it. So that's why I'm saying. So my message is that I like to think everyone that probably we need to very obedience to our incarnation of Mahaprabhu. Ochinto Bhed Obed. Bhed Obed is there, and it is not conceivable. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said that it is inconceivable, but they are one but different, and this is inconceivable. Even when the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is inconceivable, who I am, and make this conceivable and make difference between among us. So that's my comment. Sorry for this.
No, thank you for your comments. It makes sense. So yeah, I'll just say a few things. Of course, I'm not negating anything you said. It makes sense. So Prabhupada, of course, he was very strong against Mayavadis. Prabhupada made very strong statements against Mayavadis. One reason is also, from what I've heard and read, is that in Kali Yuga, our lifespans are so short. Generally now we're living, 70, 80. If someone lives 100 years, they're come in the news, they're living over 100 years. So our lifespans are so short and we're so distracted. And if in this short lifespan, we are still focusing on all the different types of yogas, then it is very easy to get distracted and it's very hard to focus on one thing. So that's why Prabhupada said, even in chapter 12, we can see in devotional service, and even in this verse in point 20, it is said that pure devotee is looking at both personal and impersonal. So it is not that it's wrong, but there is a better way. So again, like you said, the destination is the same. You can take the staircase or you can take the elevator. Staircase also, eventually you'll get there. But it is very possible that maybe after the second floor you get tired on the staircase and then you just stop going up. Or maybe you start coming down. So that's why Prabhupada said that there is a better way out there. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying as well. To your point that, you go back home and there are young people not doing anything, that is not right. Of course, someone asked His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj that what will happen if everyone just became a sannyasi like you? How will this world work? And then Radhanath Maharaj asked that same person, will you become a sannyasi? And he said no. Right? So we think that because becoming a brahmachari, becoming a sannyasi is very difficult. So most people are not able to do that. We can see even in our congregation, we don't have any brahmacharis. So most people in the Kali Yuga are, and Prabhupada mentioned this as well, are supposed to be in the Grihastha ashram. And then they have practiced Krishna consciousness. So you're supposed to be Grihastha or Griyamedi. That's the difference. So it is not said that, even in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that you're not supposed to leave anything. Do whatever you're already doing. Like for yourself, you're doing such a noble profession, you're a pediatrician, so you're helping the humanity. And then you're coming to the temple as well and you're doing all your sadhana. So then that is the perfect style of living. That you're helping the humanity materially, you're supporting your family, but then at the same time you're also practicing your sadhana bhakti. And you're increasing yourself in bhakti yoga. If some people are there, in India you have brahmacharis that are able to just give up everything. But even if you look at the percentage of how many are able to give up and how many are able to sustain and not go back to Grihastha ashram, is very few. And Prabhupada never really promoted this, because I remember listening from Leelamrita, I forget the name of the disciple, but there was a disciple of Prabhupada, he was a black body disciple, and he was doing a PhD at university, I think University of California or something. And he told the Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, I have now met you, and I am reading and doing all this. I just want to leave my studies and just join the temple full time. And Prabhupada said, no, you should complete your scientific studies, you should complete your PhD, and then help me propagate Krishna consciousness from a science perspective. So Prabhupada never said that, you should just leave everything and join. So he also said that, yes, you have to be a functioning and, a functioning member of the society. And you can see it's gone so much, with the meals and the Sunday school meals and everything that they're doing in India. So they are supporting society in whatever form you can. But again, it is said that, when you see someone at the street and they're asking you for money, you can give them money. But after half an hour, 1 hour, they'll again ask for money, because that money will run out. But let's say in an ideal situation, you give them money and then you also give them the address of the temple. Then you are helping them out materially, but then you're also instigating, you're planting that seed of spirituality where they can potentially come to the temple and become spiritually enlightened. So the idea is to do both. Because it's the same concept of watering the roots. You can keep watering the branches by giving them the money, so they will get temporary satisfaction. But unless you water the roots, unless you empower them to be something better than just sitting by the street and asking for money, they will still remain in the same situation. So I hope that, if not answered, but maybe gave a bit more clarification. And we can definitely discuss afterwards. I'm sure it's not a 5-minute topic, it's a very long topic that you can.
Yeah, Prabhupada see that we are slowly derived from our teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then Prabhupada. Slowly, that you can see in some area, you can see it in some countries, that derived from this original thought of ISKCON.
That can also be the sign of Kali Yuga.
I know.
As Kali Yuga increases, because technically we're still in the 10,000 years of golden age of Kali Yuga. So as we progress, it is stated that it will get worse. So that is why they said that you should not be distracted and focus only on one thing, so we can go back to Godhead as soon as possible. Okay, I know it's 9:20. Everyone might be tired of listening to me now. So if there's any questions, please let me know, or if there are any comments. But other than that, thank you. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
You can announce about the next program.
Hare Krishna. So this Thursday, we're having our program a talk by His Holiness Bhakti Mag Maharaj. So he'll be coming and visiting all of us. It's in the University of Calgary from 6:30 to 7:30. So we'll be sending out the poster, the details of where the program is. And in fact, Maharaj is also giving the Bhagavatam class next Saturday. So request all of you to join us next Saturday as well. So any of you who are interested to come and attend the program at university, we'll be sending out the poll. There's a limited capacity of the hall. We have around 50 that we can accommodate in the hall. So only those who register and confirm, only they'll be given the place to sit there, because we don't have more capacity. So please keep a watch on the message in the WhatsApp group, and we'll send out the details in the poll with all the confirmation to be a part of this wonderful event. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
that.